I am a spineless coward. No matter how ridiculous the request, I nod and agree. For example, to access the massive trust fund my grandfather left me, I had to follow the stipulations of his will, enter a marriage of convenience with a man who doesn't love me. A marriage without love is absurd. But what's more absurd is that shortly after the engagement, my drama queen ex, Kai Fisher, latched back onto me. Under his emotional blackmail, I was forced into a shady, underground situationship. Timing is exhausting, but you know what's even more exhausting? My boss, Christian Chase, decided he owned me, too. I became the paid substitute for his golden girl, the one that got away. So, I became the stand-in for his the one that got away. But with a twist. It's the kinky version. Fate really knows how to kick a girl when she's down. Just when I resigned myself to a life of juggling these three men like a terrified circus performer, the universe threw a wrench in the gears. I'm pregnant. Which one of them is the father? Honestly, I'm not entirely sure. However, considering the legalities and the ironclad prenup, I decided the most logical course of action was to let my fiancé, Silas Vesper, be the father. A free baby? He should be thrilled, right? Congratulations, Mr. Vesper. But a mom and dad aren't enough. I want my baby to have a healthy, toxic-free environment, a warm, normal family. And as far as I know, in a normal family, the dad might not love the mom, but the mom absolutely cannot have two secret boyfriends on the side. So, although I felt a pang of guilt, for the sake of my child's future, I made a decision. I need to cut ties with the other two. Immediately, decision made. The moment I clocked out on Friday, I drove straight to Christian Chase's private villa. He bought this place specifically for our sessions. Only 2 people know the passcode. His dead fiancé, Aurora Sky's birthday. I punched in the numbers, rehearsing my breakup speech in my head one last time before pushing the door open. The second the door clicked, my wrist burned. A large, callous hand shot out from the shadows, gripping me tight and yanking me inside. Before I could blink, I was pinned against the entryway console. Wait, Mr. Chase, I need to talk to you. I tried to push him away, but before I could finish, Christian pried my lips apart, devouring me with a fierce, wet, desperate kiss. He was still dressed in his immaculate, 3-piece suit, looking every inch the stoic CEO, except for the leather collar tied around his neck. It was cinched so tight it restricted his airflow. When the intense, suffocating kiss finally broke, Christian's face was flushed from lack of oxygen. The tip of his tongue peeked out involuntarily, panting heavily like a well-trained dog. Don't talk about irrelevant things right now. He fumbled to undo my belt, his eyes glazed with a submissive haze as he dropped to his knees before me. Mr. Sleaze, do your job. According to our contract, inside this villa, I have one role, to dominate him. Christian Chase was my idol back in college, a legend. So, 2 years ago, when I found out he was my new CEO at the global headquarters, I was ecstatic. I stayed up half the night practicing my smile in the mirror, wondering how to make a perfect first impression. I wasted my time. Christian Chase is a god in the business world. I was just a lowly team lead. He doesn't waste time on nobodies. That silly smile I practiced? It should have never seen the light of day. That is, until after a board meeting, when Christian suddenly summoned me, the invisible employee, to his office and threw an NDA on his desk. He didn't even pretend to be polite. Leaning back in his leather chair, he looked down at me with cold calculation. You look exactly like her, he said, his voice cold and dead. If you're willing, sign this. I need you every Friday night. I stood there, head bowed, feeling something shatter inside my chest. Christian tapped his finger on the mahogany desk. Why that I don't force anyone. You can say no. He said he doesn't force people. He said it was my choice. But he also casually mentioned that to avoid rumors, if I refused, there would be no place for me at his company. And I needed this job. I had crippling student loans that were suffocating me. I hesitated. Agreeing wasn't the hard part, but I felt I should be honest about my situation. Like the fact that I was engaged, and I had a messy situation with an ex. But I barely got a sentence out. Mr. Chase, maybe you should know a bit about me first. Christian cut me off, his voice icy. You are just a substitute, a paid actor. You aren't important enough for me to waste time getting to know you. Okay, fine. He didn't want to listen. He can't say I didn't warn him. Honestly, being Christian Chase's body double wasn't exactly torture. The man was a masterpiece. 6-pack abs, broad shoulders, and a clean bill of health. Sleeping with him didn't just secure my job, it came with perks. Specifically, a 7-figure performance bonus added to my bank account every year. And let me be clear, I earned every cent of that money. I don't know if Christian spent years celibate waiting for the one that got away, or if the repression just broke his brain, but the man had developed some serious kinks. By day, he was the ruthless CEO who made grown men tremble in the boardroom. A total alpha. But on Friday nights, the second those doors locked, he dropped to his knees faster than a sinner at confession. That sharp, cruel mouth of his, usually reserved for firing people, was suddenly incapable of spitting insults. Mr. Chase was disciplined. We only met once a week, but deep down, he was an insatiable glutton for punishment. Every Friday, he clung to me like a drowning man, demanding to be used until I was physically drained. At first, the money felt like too much. I felt guilty taking it. But now, as I nurse my sore back and chug vitamins like an 80-year-old, I know I deserve every penny. Being a paid stand-in is manual labor, but I wasn't delusional. No matter how many times Christian whispered mistress in the dark, or how many times I made him cry tears of cathartic release, the dynamic never changed outside that bedroom. He looked down. He paid. I played. Strictly transactional. Cold, hard cash for cold, hard control. No feelings attached. Christian didn't like me. Actually, he probably despised me. That's why I went to him first. I figured this was the weakest link, the easiest relationship to sever. I just didn't expect him to be so needy tonight. We tumbled onto the bed, limbs tangled. The shock of the cold silk sheets against my skin snapped me back to reality. I can't do this. Not with the baby. Stop. I slapped him across the face. Hard. The sound echoed in the room. No entry tonight. Christian froze. He stared at me for a few seconds, his chest heaving, before his expression hardened. The submissive haze vanished, replaced by the cold CEO. You know? His His voice was ice. Who told you? What is he talking about? Christian sat up, frustratedly running a hand through his sweat-dampened hair. He unbuckled the leather collar and tossed it onto the nightstand. How did you find out Aurora is coming back to the States? Aurora, his obsession. The dead fiancé who was very much alive. Huh? I didn't know, I said, blinking. I was telling the truth. I was his dirty little secret.